Good morning. Okay, let's try this again. Good morning. Welcome to Unity Church of the Hills, and we will now start our service. And the first song is We Let It Be. So we ask that you stand. We'll start it off, and you all join in with us.
Check. All right, here we go.
We let the love wash over us. We let it be.
Morning, and to look into your faces and to see the love and the light that you are. I'm Rev Cynthia Vermillion-Foster. I am the transitional minister here at Unity Church of the Hills, and I want you to know that your presence here matters and that it makes a difference. And that's true of those of you that are with us in the sanctuary, and it's true of those that are joining us online. Unity Church of the Hills is an open-minded and open-hearted spiritual community. We welcome and embrace each and every individual, and we see in each one of you an expression of God, an expression of the divine. So if you're here for the first time, if it's comfortable for you, if you don't mind raising your hands, we'd love to just take a moment to acknowledge you. And if you're joining us online for the first time, know that we are holding you in our hearts as well. So we have a blessing for all of us, and let's say that together. We love you, we bless you, we welcome you, and we behold the Christ you are. And now we have an opportunity to take that energy out and to greet one another with a handshake, with a hug, with a namaste. Just getting a chance to connect with one another face to face and face to face online.
Good morning, God. Thank you that the top of my head is on tight, or thanks would be flowing and flooding this wonderful room. I share my thanks now for the faces that I see and the fact that as I smile, a smile is returned. We thank you that we are here for large reasons or small reasons. Whether we come in pain and we look for solace, or we come in joy that we may share, or we come just knowing it will be good to be here, we are all able to say thank you that this place exists and offers all that it does. We thank you that we love its past, whether we knew it or not, because its past allows it to be in the present, and we love its presence because we're here and now. And we love the fact that the presence is followed by the future and all that it offers. We are grateful. We thank you for the small things, like the question asked this morning, why does a rooster crow at sunset and sunrise? And we thank you for not needing to know why, but knowing that you have a reason, and it satisfies us. Thank you that we are able to ask God, what shall I do today that is good? And then we can feel, hear, see in some way the answer, your guidance, for which we are grateful. For all of this and so much more, we say in unison, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning. I hope you all are doing well on this beautiful day. In recognition of the depth of change occurring here at Unity Church of the Hills, we are engaging in an intentional transitional process designed to support our spiritual community in navigating this time mindfully and collaboratively. Over the weekend of September 22nd through 24th, Rev Cynthia and Rev Doug Dewar will be facilitating a full community process called Heritage and Healing. Please plan to join us. And together we will explore and honor the rich history of Unity Church of the Hills. And we are deeply grateful for the loving and dedicated youth and family ministry team. They have been collaborating and with one another and staff to ensure that the youngest members of our community are spiritually nurtured. With attendance lower over the summer, they're taking a short break to listen to Spirit, Plan, and Rebuild. Toddler and infant classes will continue each Sunday, of course. Other classes will not be offered from July 23rd through August 13th. And we look forward to offering full programming again on August 20th. Join us for an intentional smoke cleansing of our sacred gathering spaces. Together in union with nature and earth, we will raise the energetic vibration of our campus with a variety of supportive, sustainable herbs that inspire community, compassion, healing, and connection. You are welcome to bring a small singing bowl or bells or any other gentle sound healing instruments if you choose. So please now join me for the mission statement. Okay. We put God first, celebrate life, serve truth, and empower people to transform their lives.
If this is my last song, if this is my final day, if tomorrow I'll be gone, what do I want to say? If this is my last song, if it's my time to go, when my body's moved on, what do I have to show? Oh, not fortune nor fame, they scatter to the wind. The things that make a name just don't matter in the end. But is the world a little more peaceful? The ocean and the sky a little more blue? Is humankind a little more wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little brighter when before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. If these are my last words for all of the earth to hear, if all that I have ever been is about to disappear, if these are my last words, there's nothing I need to say. I have only tried to serve, I've never been about talking anyway. So much hurt there is to heal, it's hard to understand. All I can hope to feel is that I am doing all I can. Is the world a little more peaceful? The ocean and sky a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter when before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a child stood a little bit taller because of something I have said? Have I left a little kindness? Have I eased a little pain? If so, then I'm glad I I'm so glad I came. If this is my last song, what do I leave behind? What do I pass on when I am out of time?
Thank you so much, Matt. I love that song from Daniel Nahmod. And it leaves us with the opportunity to ask some tender questions, doesn't it? What happens, I'm sorry, let me get organized here. What happens if this is our last song? What would happen if we lived every moment with the awareness that life is a precious gift and we don't know what the next moment will bring, but we have the opportunity to bring to each moment all of ourselves and to touch the world in healing, loving ways. I'd like to say that I do that all the time, but well, not so much. But it is a wonderful opportunity as we embrace this threshold to consider that question. Were you all mindful of crossing the threshold this morning? Do you remember our conversation last week? That at each and every moment, we are crossing a threshold into something new, and we have the opportunity to carry forward some things and the opportunity to let go of some things. Last week, we began a 10-part series based on the book Trusting Change by Karen Herring. And this book pursues several practices that help us engage threshold living with intentionality. Last week, we talked about the first practice, letting go. And we talked about letting go in the deepest sense of the word, as a sense of surrender, recognizing that surrender is vastly different than resignation. Resignation is a sense of giving up. But surrender or letting go is a sense of opening up. Opening to something fuller, something richer, something more, the full expression and experience of spirit in this now moment. And this week, we move deeper into that journey by talking about the second practice, honoring loss, honoring grief. I have to admit that I have some trepidation talking about this on a Sunday morning. This is a very tender aspect of our journey of life, and it is something that we all experience. And it is very complex and brings forth so much depth of feeling. And much of that is difficult to process and difficult to be with. But here's the thing. Loss and grief are aspects of the human experience that we all encounter. And when we embrace loss and grief, It enables us to cross the threshold, to engage fully in the transitions of life. And so as we step into this practice this morning, I've endeavored to surround us, to anchor us in prayer and healing consciousness. There are multiple chaplains today holding space with us. And I called Silent Unity this morning, and they are holding us in prayer. And for those of you that are new, Silent Unity is Unity's prayer ministry, and they've been praying with people for about 140 years now. So that was a wonderful experience that we can all embrace as we enter this discussion. And, this is less a talk than a series of reflections. And I thought that it was important that I carry forward my own experience, that I anchor this reflection in my own encounter, my own embrace of grief. And the most difficult experience of loss and grief I had occurred several years ago. I had accepted a position at Unity Worldwide Ministries, and it was a wonderful opportunity. And we were living in Canada at the time, and Unity Worldwide Ministries was in Kansas City. I have 2 children. My daughter had already gone off to university and was kind of settled. My son was 17. And he had 1 more year of high school, so I was able to negotiate working virtually for 1.5 years until he completed that experience. And I thought, well, this will work out fine. He'll go to university, we'll put him in a dorm, and he'll be well cared for, and we will move back to the United States. Well, my son, at 18, had different ideas. He was really clear he didn't want to move in with us or continue to live with us. He wanted to stay in Canada. That's where his support system was. He'd been there since he was 7. So he got a job, and we moved him into a tiny apartment in downtown Hamilton. He was 18. He was by himself. And I can remember the last trip down to that apartment, getting him settled. My baby. And we said our goodbyes. We both had some tears. I walked out to the car, and I was putting some stuff in the back seat. And I turned around, and Javon was there. One more hug, one more goodbye. That moment, every time I think of it, breaks my heart. But it was the next couple of years that were the most difficult, because he really struggled. And when my daughter went away to university, if she was having a hard time, I could say, well, I'm 40 minutes away. I can come and we can talk and we can work through this together. With my son, it wasn't so easy. We were thousands of miles apart. And lots of invitations to come live with the parents. Lots of questions, and I've said to Javon on more than one occasion how sorry I am to have left him in that situation. And he's like, it was a decision I made for myself. This was an opportunity for you. And what I can say is that I left, I don't know, I mean, at that time he was already considerably larger than I was. But I left my baby. He was my youngest child. I left my baby in a different country. And that was heartbreaking. But what I can also say is that we both crossed a threshold. You know, there is a saying that grief is love with no place to go. And I can relate to that, but what I experienced with Javon is that letting go, that allowing my son to make his own decisions and to struggle with his own journey, supported him in becoming an incredible young man, deeply caring, deeply compassionate, wise. You know, I was a mess at 24, and he's just so amazing and so wonderful, and he's still struggling in many ways. But he is his own person, and I see much greater maturity in him than I see in other young people his age. So together we crossed a threshold that allowed him to live into the fullness of who he was, and has allowed me to embrace a young man as an equal. Now, I mean, he still asks me for advice sometimes, and I sometimes give him advice that he doesn't want, but you know, we have this rich relationship filled with love. We're very blessed. My husband and I have that with both of our children. And we speak every week via Zoom, and those conversations are an hour and a half, 2 hours long every single week, because we hold one another with such love. So grief is a complex emotion, and it's really kind of a constellation of emotions. It can include sadness and despair and confusion and anger and denial and guilt. It's complex, it's difficult, but it is an essential part of the journey, and it opens us up in ways that we often do not expect. And the truth is that every day we all experience little losses. And so grief in many ways is a familiar companion on the life journey. And sometimes our sense of loss and grief is about something we had and lost. And sometimes it's about something that we desired and never had. But honoring that experience of grief is tremendously important. We want to open ourselves to the experience, to embrace it with a sense of spaciousness, to honor it as a sacred part of our journey, because it creates new channels for that love to flow. Frank, I'll probably pronounce this wrong, Ostaseski is, I'm sure that's pronounced wrong. He's got a beautiful book called The 5 Invitations. He's the co-founder of the Zen Hospice in San Francisco that was created during the middle of the AIDS crisis. And so he's walked with people through grief for many years. And he says that honoring grief is about being fully alive, fully human. He says there's no letting go until we let in. We let in the fullness of that experience. And that grief is a path to wholeness. And that we need to welcome it, to honor it, to allow it to grow us. You know, I was walking the labyrinth this week and you know, thinking about this morning and how easily we forget. I'm walking the labyrinth out there and I'm like, there's renunciation. Oh, and after renunciation is life. The letting go allows us to embrace life at a fuller, deeper level. The Lakota Sioux Nation says that those who are grieving are the most holy because they are connected to that which is beyond this world. So, embracing grief is really rich and nurturing, even though it's deeply painful. And Mark Nepo says one of the great truths in this life is that if we know love, we will know loss. The more we love, the more the loss will hurt. Yet if we don't love, what is the point of being here? When we can courageously love with all our heart, the reward is that through that love, we will know depths in our heart and being otherwise inaccessible. What a gift. Still, things will never be the same. And who or what we have loved so deeply and lost will continue to be our teacher through our grief as our heart is rearranged yet again. I think that when someone or something we love dies, we who love them are drawn to the other side. In fact, grief is how we straddle, for a time, the space between life and death, a time that can't be measured in hours or days, a time in which the deeper truths come in like a wind through the breaks in our heart. So what I'd like to do as we move forward is to take this into a time of personal reflection, meditation, and then we're going to do a candle lighting ceremony. But before I get going on that, I want to make sure everybody got a candle on their way in. Is there anyone that needs a candle? I can't see, so I'll trust you. Feline, thank you so much. Neil over here. So I invite you to just settle in. Take a moment and just feel the movement of spirit as the breath. That breath might be most felt or most experienced in your nostrils or in your lungs or even in your diaphragm, but just pay attention to it. Just feel that breath. Gentle, continuous, constantly nurturing you on this journey of life. And as you open to the breath, open yourself fully and completely to Spirit. Allow yourself to pay special attention to the exhale, the moment of letting go, the moment of surrender, the moment of expanding into the infinity of the universe. And as you allow yourself to settle there, open yourself to your own experiences of loss, your own experiences of grief, feeling the tenderness, and honoring all of the emotions. You might bring to mind a loved one that you have lost. You might be grieving the loss of a way of life. You might be experiencing a health challenge that is not allowing you to engage life in the same way. Just honor that loss. Feel it in your body. Where does it land? What does it carry with it? And honor that experience fully. Open yourself and just sit with it for a moment in the silence. As you acknowledge the loss, ask yourself the question, is there something here that I'm choosing not to feel? Some way in which I'm trying to push that experience aside. Trust yourself to open to each aspect of that experience. Notice that the experience of loss is grounded in an abiding sense of love. And feel that love in your heart and soul. And as you open to that love, as you remember the sense of loss and letting go, trust in the movement of Spirit to take you through this journey lovingly, tenderly. And as you sit with that, just allow it to be for a while, for a moment. And when it feels right, open your eyes and light the candle you hold. You know, in this journey of life, particularly over the past several years, there is so much that is unfaced, so much that is unprocessed for all of us and for the world. And I invite you to consider that by honoring and facing the losses in your life and activating the love, allowing it to flow, you can make a difference in this world. You know, I've been reading a book called The Millennial Narrative. And it's talking about millennials and what they need from a spiritual perspective at this time. And they make the point in this book, this minister has spoken with many millennials about their experience. And what he says is that these young people are immersed in loss. They have come into adulthood at a very challenging time in our history. And that if we really want to support them on their spiritual journey, we need to honor the lament, the loss, the grief, and to from that lament, from that letting go, that grief, to bring forth the hope that they so desire, that all of us so desire. So I would say that our embrace together of our own sense of loss, our own sense of grief, the tenderness of our hearts allows us to more fully love the world around us. It allows us to pour compassion on all those suffering in our world. So what I'm going to invite us now to do is to take these candles that we've lit and to bring them forward and place them in the salt trays as an indication that we're taking that love out into the world. We're going to start in the front. The ushers are going to help us negotiate this. And you'll come down the center and exit up the side so there's no traffic jams. I'm gonna put my candle in. And I'm also putting in a candle for all of those in our virtual audience.
Some brightly burning, some dark and cold. There is a spirit who brings a fire, ignites a candle, and makes his home. Carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the hopeless, confused and torn.
Did all our musicians get to place a candle? Thank you all. And thank you, Emma Jane. That was beautiful. So, I'm sure you recognize the message there. Comes from Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others. Each of you is the light of the world. And each of you lights up the world with your loving presence. And I thank you for honoring your own journey of transformation so that you can hold the world in your heart. God bless you. Sorry. We are opening the space for lots of opportunity to process this tender topic. And we have multiple prayer chaplains. I'll acknowledge them at the end of the service. But I also want you to know that in the lobby after the service, you have an opportunity to engage in an interactive grief mandala. This is an experiential healing journey guided by nature. It will allow you to facilitate more deeply the transformation of grief. Together, we will enter into a sacred space to collaboratively co-create this mandala that honors the depths of our losses and the imprints they have made on our lives. This mandala will be interactive and will remain in the foyer until our experience the end of September with the Heritage and Healing Journey, where it will be dismantled and carried into nature. So during this time, you're invited to add natural offerings such as leaves, flowers, petals, sticks, stones, feathers, shells, sand. The journey will be guided by Anaya. Some of you know her as Shannon Pressure. And she's an integrative healer who intuitively and compassionately guides individuals in attuning their spirit and matter body, weaving the sage wisdom of nature and earth medicine into each of her offerings. Her years of experience guiding others on their journey as they alchemize trauma, loss, and illness has provided her with the wisdom to walk alongside all beings through life's most tender healing moments. So I invite you to engage in that in the lobby after service.
To support our spiritual community and experience the power of giving and receiving with our offering. So if the ushers could come forward, Now, there's a number of ways for you to give, and they're showing on the screen, whether you're giving through our app, text to give, in person, online, or by mail. We are very grateful for your generosity and know that it will return to you tenfold. If you give electronically or through recurring giving, we have cards in the pew, which are these cards, and that you can give to use to activate the power of your generosity. Pick one up while we speak our offering and affirmation together. And here we go. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful.
In my time, I've traveled some roads, a rolling stone. Nowhere feels like home. I've seen people come and they go. Life is just a story of some highs and some lows. Tell me, do you believe in miracles? I'm standing here before your eyes. I've cried many rivers, I've walked through some pain. I've seen my world crumble, and I'll carry the shame. But I know somebody who calls me his own. I can hear heaven singing out, oh, you're never alone. Oh, you're never, never alone. Everybody wants to be king. We put all our hopes inside material things. In your light, I now understand that everything I have ain't everything I am. But sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough. That's when love says you are mine. Oh, I've cried many rivers, I've walked through some pain. I've seen my world crumble, and I'll carry the shame. But I know somebody who calls me his own. I can hear heaven singing out, oh, you're never alone. Oh, you're never, never alone, no. I may have took some time, but now I realize my imperfections were part of the plan. And if all things work together, in the end, the broken will be beautiful. See, there's not a hole too deep for God's love, and God's love is even deeper still. So if we've all come too far to put that behind us, so we can all say, I've cried many rivers, I've been through some pain, I've seen my world crumble, and I've carried the shame. But I know somebody who calls me his own. Can you hear heaven singing out, you are never alone. Oh, you're never, never alone, never alone, never alone. You are never alone, never alone, never alone. We are never alone.
It's you. Oh. Yes, let's bless these offerings. So I'm I'm touched once again by the light that shines in this sanctuary, for the light that each member of this congregation is, that they carry forward into this world. And we know that they give generously to this ministry. And we bless these offerings of monetary value, but also the many ways in which they serve this ministry. And we see these gifts going forward to light up our world. And for this, we do give our grateful thanks and our amen. Thank you.
Saturday, August 5th, Jennifer Feiereisel is offering the ACIM Essentials Workshop, a 4.5-hour in-depth introduction and overview of A Course in Miracles. Now, this class is a prerequisite for the ACIM Perspectives class coming up August 19th. You can register online. The board meet and greet that was previously held every third Sunday after the service is now Conversation with the Board, to be held monthly every fourth Thursday evening via Zoom at 7 p.m. Check the calendar on the UCOH website for details. And lastly, next Sunday in our 8 a.m. service, Joni Lorraine will explore the true essence of hospitality and how embracing hospitality can support us in bridging the gaps we perceive in our polarized communities. Now in the 11:30 service, Sandra Vela, licensed Unity teacher, presents Equanimity, the third talk in our Trusting Change series. With equanimity, we keep the story open and ever evolving as we journey as a community through our threshold of change. So now this is the last weekend for the Rainbow Shirts, so don't forget, they're $15 and you can get them right outside in the foyer. And this really is the last thing. Apparently there's a lot of food in hospitality and you have to go and eat it. So that's what you have to do.
I don't have the list of our transition team. I'll see if I can remember their names. There's 10 members of our transition team. We had our first meeting this past Wednesday, and it was a delight to connect with them. This group is going to be working closely with me. We'll be meeting weekly and really moving through this transitional experience and supporting you in that journey. For the next few months, they're going to be working intimately with me in preparing the Heritage and Healing, but they'll also be doing some other work along the way. So I forgot to bring the list up here, so let me see if I can remember them. Gary Seller. Seligren, thank you. Okay. And John Davidson and Bob Sanderline. I'm going to pronounce all the names wrong. And Tammy Lorraine, and Joanne Lucas, and oh, you have the list. Lynn Andrews, Rudy DeSoto, and 3 more. Ted Payon, Heidi, and 1 more. I got Ted. Who did I miss? One of the women. Oh, yeah. Flynn. Anyway, the list is on the website. I'm sorry I forgot to bring their names up, but I really want you to connect with these people, to get to know them, because they are going to really be working to keep me aligned with the pulse of this community as we move forward. And next and last, before we close the service, I want to honor all the chaplains that are serving this morning. If you could just stand so that we could recognize you. As I said, there are extra chaplains on duty this morning, so if there's something really tender still bubbling beneath the surface for you, I do invite you to take that to prayer with one of our chaplains. And if anybody's struggling with a personal loss and they want a moment with me, I will definitely make myself available. But know that all of you are deeply held in our minds and hearts.
And now we have our closing song. Everyone stand, come together.
Until we meet again. Until we meet again. May God wrap you in his arms of grace and mercy. Until we meet again. Amen.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Have a great week.